that, I guess that's all I can say.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we've always been good friends and a good working relationship, but I'm compelled under these circumstances to call for your resignation, and I make that in the form of a motion that you resign as chairman and executive director. I'm sorry, that we terminate you, since you won't resign. My motion is to terminate you.
Did we have a motion on the table about the request to resign?
Yes, that was the first motion. You're correct.
Was there a second to that motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I honestly and truthfully believe that is a good motion, because I really do think that with the stuff that I've heard, that that we need to make sure that this system is run properly and fairly, and we don't want to take a chance on something happening to the system because of some personal grudge out there.
Okay, so since I'm refusing to resign, Kathy, we should withdraw that motion, and I have to now address Mr. Martineau's motion of termination?
We can't force somebody to resign. We can request them.
No, I didn't say he could.
Oh.
I'm just asking that if there is a motion on the floor, you don't take a second motion until the first motion is acted upon.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, since I'm refusing to resign...
So they can withdraw the motion.
Right.
No, they don't want to withdraw the motion.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You want to withdraw the motion, Glenn, and pick up with...
Glenn, why would you withdraw it? If you believe he should resign, then you can vote on it, and everybody can vote yes or no.
Well, that was my intent.
Right. Well, that's what needs to happen.
Kathy, I think we're violating his rights. I don't think we can force an individual by a vote to resign from a position.
You can't force him. What you're doing is you're telling him you agree that he should resign. That's all. There's a motion on the floor.
You're
ask him to resign. You either vote for it or you don't vote for it.
Okay.
So it's a sense of the board. Is that what?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying, Kathy?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any further discussion?
Have you said everything you want to say about your not withdrawing?
You know, I've suffered more unfair coverage and one-sided coverage and exaggeration than I think anybody ever experienced. And, you know, there's never been a fair presentation of the facts here, and has never been any intention of that. And I give our best example is when we had such an outstanding stock performance in 2009, in spite of all this political distraction, not a word, until I had to write a letter to the editor. But if we had stumbled, it would have been, 6 weeks. So this has not been a very fair, it's just been a vicious political attack which isn't justified.
But it's in a position now where we can no longer move ahead until we take some action. And nobody's been a bigger supporter of you than myself.
I'm not saying I'm not understanding.
The things that we've done and we've accomplished in the past speak for themselves. But for the benefit of the members and the retirees right now, I think we need to move forward.
Okay, nothing else to be said. Is on Mr. Morse's motion to request my resignation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-1, is that correct?
Yep. And then, Mr. Chairman, I reiterate my motion, now that motion is dealt with, Kathy, that...
Yep, that's what I think needs to happen.
Okay, I apologize for that then.
No, that's not a problem. I mean, if Tim's sitting there in shock, then I think that's why I interjected. I just thought we should on the first motion.
Okay. But
I hope I didn't with that.
no, my motion is that, that we go forward with termination proceedings for you, for Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, and, in a way that we can all move forward and, try to get back on track. So,
And those would be the procedures outlined in the contract I have with the board?
Yes.
well, we'll have to go through the contract. We're not gonna violate your rights under the law.
I do have a copy here.
I think too that we ought to ask Dwyer and Carrillo to represent the board in this matter, if there is an all-encompassing thing for this matter also.
Well, I have the contract, if I can speak to that.
Well, before we jump in that, Michael, we have a motion to hire you to take up this point, so we need to have it in the proper sequence here.
Hold it. Did Bill's motion get a second?
Yeah,
Yes.
Glenn the second.
And we need to vote on that. We shouldn't be hiring a lawyer before we vote on the motion.
That's correct, Captain.
May I suggest something, however, before the vote?
Yeah.
I think the board has to make certain findings, otherwise I think its vote would be subject to challenge. It's subject to challenge anyway, but it seems to me you're not following the terms of the contract, so you should do that.
I think I should add in that, my motion is based on the PERAC audit report for the call for termination.
That's the basis of your motion?
That's the basis of the motion.
And do you believe that justifies cause?
Yes.
That should be incorporated into the motion, otherwise it seems to me that you're simply terminating him without following...
Without cause.
Without cause.
I agree with that. I'm not an attorney, but you have to have your ducks in order here.
Okay. It's a little emotional for me, I apologize, but...
I understand, Bill.
Mr. Chairman, my motion is to call for your termination for just cause, and I base my motion on the PERAC audit and the board's ability to move forward.
Second.
Discussion?
Any more discussion?
Yeah, tape.
Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, all in favor of Mr. Martineau's motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now I guess it's your motion, Glenn, to hire
the attorney.
Dwyer and Core to proceed now that you've taken that action, I guess. You want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we ask that Dwyer and Caller to represent the board in this particular matter of the termination of Mr. Bassett as chairman and chief executive officer.
Could you also add and authorize us to send the notice of the board's action to the employee pursuant to Section 8 of his contract?
Absolutely.
You got that, Casey?
Yeah.
Second.
Where's the vote on that?
Yes. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 I think I'm supposed to abstain. Correct?
That's up to you, Mr. Bassett. But voting to hire a law firm to represent the board in connection with your termination is probably a conflict of interest for you
Right.
to
So
take a
I think
position
I'll
on.
abstain, so I don't make any other mistakes.
I don't know if the board is familiar with the contract as drafted, but there are a couple of issues. One is, if the board so authorizes, we would send to Mr. Bassett notice of the board's action. We have to do so in writing.